This is the project we're going to make here today. A lovely card using a sunflower stamp, and to colour this I'm going to use my Aqua tint pens. But don't worry if you say I can't colour. We're not going to be colouring as you think we're going to be colouring. I'm going to show you a different technique to use. The Aqua tint pens come in a variety of colours. I've got mine stored in my Spectrum Noir pen racks here because that's how I store all my Spectrum Noir products. These are single-ended, so you can store them down or you could stand them upright, not a problem at all. They're very similar to the sparkle pens. You take the lid off, and when you get them new, they will have a white nib on them, and you'll have a little collar around here. Unscrew this chamber, take the collar away and throw it away, re-screw your chamber down, and you'll hear it go click. Once you've heard it go click, that chamber has broken this main body here that holds all the colour and pigment. On the side it says push. If you squeeze gently, just gently, and face it downwards, I always do it onto a glass mat because if any colour comes out I can reuse that and not throw that away. You'll see the colour come down the chamber here, and the nib of your pen will change colour to the colour you've got on your cap. So that is how you get your pens ready. You don't have to shape them so much like the sparkle pens because the sparkle pens have actually got glitter in them. These haven't. They are water based, so that means we can do all those great techniques with them as well. So that is what I'm going to be using. So I've given you a list of things you're going to need, and I'm going to be stamping onto some Sheena stamping card today because this is smooth. I could quite easily use my Crafter's Companion water-based cardstock, watercolour cardstock, but I've chosen the Sheena stamping card because it's smooth. I'm using a sunflower stamp here. This is from Sheena's Little Bit Sketchy, and when you get your stamps, cut as close as you can to the edge, but not on the edge. Go as close as you can to the edge. These haven't got any adhesive on the back, so you're going to need to spray some stick and spray on the back of these so you can put them onto your rocker blocks. I've already gone ahead and done that, and with the stick and spray you can peel these off, pop them on, and then I can put them back in their storage quite easily. And then you keep doing that time and time again. Eventually they will lose their stick. If they lose their stick, clean the back of the stamp with your spray away, spray some of that on, clean it off, and then re-prime again with your stick and spray, and you're ready to go again. So this is all on my rocker block ready to go. So I'm going to start colouring my image. So I'm going to go in first with some olive jade, and I'm going to use this colour for the leaves and the stalk. This isn't going to damage your brush if you're just gentle with it. I'm just going slightly on the side, just gentle strokes, and because we've got that brush nib, I have got control exactly where I want this colour to be. You wouldn't be able to do this with a large ink pad. So this is where these pens have got such versatility, because all of a sudden I've got all these colours in inks. So, and then I'm going to go with the yellow. This is Moonstone, so I'm just going all around the edge with the Moonstone. I'm going from the outside in. Moonstone is quite a pale yellow, so I'm just bringing all that in. Okay. Now if you're worrying that some bits look a bit dry, just give your little pen a squeeze again on your glass mat. I'm working on a glass mat here, okay, because I can pick that colour up and use again when we actually start painting with it. So I'm just going all around the edge there, getting a nice good coverage on these leaves. Okay, now I'm going to show you something. This is the yellow, which is quite pale. If I go onto my green, can you see I've contaminated the nib of the brush? I've got green on there. Now don't panic if that happens. It's not a problem at all. All you do is on your paper, give it a squiggle. Can you see that green's come off? and then when I do that again, it's perfectly fine. If I bring that up to the camera, you'll see that's where I had that green on, and now I haven't. So don't worry about if you do contaminate your brush like that, because it's quite easily corrected. Okay, so just bringing that all the way around there. I will just put a bit more green on where I've just done my little bit of contamination there, because I want a nice crisp stamp. And then I'm going to go in with some smoky quartz in the middle. Okay, so I'm just dabbing that in the middle. I'm going to just take a little bit from the outside as well. So I'm just dabbing that on, and I'm going to also do a little bit of dabbing on with Harvest Moon, which is an orange colour. So I'm just going to dab some of that over there as well. And if I'm worried about contamination, again, just give it a squiggle. Brings that colour back. So let's turn that over, because that's the right size cardstock I need. Now these are water-based products, so they might dry a little bit. I've got a little bit dry in here, the first ones I put on, but you're going to huff with your breath from your mouth. That will reactivate the water-based product. So, but I don't want to spray it with a water spray because it will make it too wet. So I'm going to go on and huff, so you'll see, won't see me, I'll be off camera, but you'll hear me. And then position your rocker block over your cardstock, and then gently applying pressure to stamp your image. Okay, so that is our image stamped. There's still a lot of ink you've got on here on your stamp, and do not be concerned by that, because you could spritz that with some water and do another image. You may even get 2 or 3. You could do another huff and do another image as well, but we're going to concentrate on what we've got here. So that is our image done. So I'm going to pop this to one side. Okay, you can see the beautiful detail, the veins on the leaves there. Not got quite as much on the brown there, but we can add that afterwards. So I'm going to bring in my paint brushes. Got a water pot here, and I've just got a towel to damp my brushes on. The 2 brushes I use mostly are these are the Royal and Langnickel, and you can get these from the website, and I use the big flat one and the nice rounded end one. I've had mine several years now, as you can see, well loved and well used. They may look a bit stained in colour, but they still work. So if you look after your brushes, can you see I've got no splaying on the edges there? They just are great. They last a long time. So these are what I would recommend. So I'm going to use this one today. So I'm going to put a bit in my water. I've got a towel here. I'm going to take the worst off, so when it's touching your skin, it's barely damp. And then just going over your image, just dragging the colour that we've stamped down, but it's still keeping the detail of the stamp itself. And just adding that in. It's very relaxing doing this. You'll notice I'll go a bit quiet because it is so relaxing to do. Now many people will say, oh, I don't do colouring, I can't colour. To me, those people, this is where you want to start, because straight away if I said to you colour a leaf, you'd probably go, oh no, I can't colour a leaf. But look what you can create when you stamp with your pens and then add your colour. So I'm going to start with the leaves. I'm just dragging the colour that we've stamped from the edge, so I'm going from the outside in. Now as I said, the yellow is quite pale, but you'll see it's starting to happen. Now if that happens, I don't want that brown to run in there. I'm just going to dab it with my towel. You could use a bit of kitchen paper as well if you have, or go in with your heat gun and just dry that off, because I don't want that brown to rub in over my yellow. So don't panic, all can be resolved. So bring my towel back in, and let's just bring that yellow in. Okay, it's starting to happen. I'm turning my paper as I go, So I hope this isn't giving you too much of a headache, but what I always say to people is have the paper to where you feel comfortable with. You know, you haven't always got to have your paper there and colouring. Turn your paper so you feel comfortable with how you've got your colouring product, whether it be a brush, a pen. You feel comfortable where you've got it. If I haven't got enough yellow, you remember that yellow I put here on the desk on my glass mat, I can pick that up and add that in as well to add a bit more vibrancy if I wish. In fact, I'm quite liking the look of that because the yellow is quite pale. But you can see now how the sunflower is just coming to life just from that stamped image. And this is something that you can quite easily create, and I hope you're working along with me and doing the same. If you are working along with me and doing the same, do share some images of what you've created on the Crafters Companion Facebook page, because I'd love to see it and what you've been doing. So bringing that colour in there, and you can see it doesn't look all perfectly flat. We're not painting a kitchen wall, as I say, where it's all got to be flat. We've got all these different colours. We've got a bit of the brown ran in there. Doesn't matter, you know, not a problem at all. I'm going to add a little bit more yellow down here, so I'm just going to do another little squiggle of yellow. I'm going to give that a little squeeze actually, just to get a bit more out. Comes out, that's it. Probably a bit too much than I wanted, but never mind. Picking that up on my dry brush and then just adding that in. And this is the nice thing, you can keep going back, adding it in, dry off with your heat gun if you wish, but you can see how quickly this is coming together. And I think I'm quite happy with that, so I'm going to work on the middle now. Sometimes you just have to stop. So I think, Dawn, you've just got to stop now. So let's work on the middle. Okay, so we've got some brown in the middle here. So let me get some water, dampen my brush off again, just to activate that and bring that in. You see how activating that, how far it goes. Because these are so rich, these aqua tints, they're just amazing to work with. So that's activated that there. And if I want to put a bit more dark to my brown, again a little squiggle on my mat, going with my brush, and I can add a bit of texture just by dabbing that down. So already you see what you're getting, a lovely watercolour project in no time at all. Okay, in between, what is quite good is to give that little blast with your heat gun. Okay, just give that little blast, and then I think I'm just going to go back in again with a bit more dark of that brown, just so it doesn't look flat, and bring a little bit round the edge there. So that, I think, is where I'm going to stop. Now, another thing you can do with this, if you want to take this a little step further, which is quite nice to do, we can add a little bit of shadowing. You may have seen Sheena do this on the television, and it is quite easy to do, and I think you could have a go at this quite easily. So I'm going in with the silver. Okay, so this is the what we've got here, sterling silver, because normally for this you'd use a grey. I've got black, which I could dilute down, but I'm going to go in with the silver. So I'm going to pop a little bit of silver onto my mat here, okay, because I think that's the nearest I got to a grey. Again, going in with my brush, drying off the most of that again, so you've just got that little damp feel. Pick up some of the colour, and if you just put some of the grey underneath to make a shadow, this will make this flower pop off the page. It's a lovely technique. You may have seen Sheena do it several times and thought, I can't do that, it's just far too difficult. Sheena does it, she's an artist, you know. Have a go, because you can do it, and that is the beauty of this. So I'm just adding just that grey shadow in round the edge, just very thin, not too thick, around the edge there. And then you can also bring some of this just under a couple of the petals there, just to make them look like they're popping off the page. I'm not doing every single one, I'm just going to do a couple here just to make them look like they're popping off the page. If you feel more comfortable again moving your work, do so. Okay, that really just makes that look 3D and come off the page there. Okay, I think I'm going to leave it at that. Now this looks quite stark with the white background, but I want to just show you a quick technique how we can do the background to soften this up. So I'm going to bring in some glycerin. This is some glycerin that I've just picked up from the chemist. I've got a big bottle of it, I've got a couple of big bottles, and I just put it in a little bottle here to dispense it. So it's cheap enough to buy from the chemist. I'm going to put a little blob there on my craft mat. And I think the colour I'm going to go in just to soften the edges of this is pink champagne. So I'm just going to put a blob of that on my mat. It might look a bit orangey, but I just want a soft look. I've got a distress tool here with a foam pad on it. Foam pad I use for my glycerin, I do not use on my distress ink, so top tip, keep those in a separate pot. So I'm just going to get a clean one, and straight away I'm going to push the glycerin right into my foam pad. Once I'm happy that's in there, I can then pick up some of the colour, again pushing it right into my mat, into my pad, sorry. And then from the edge, what I'm going to do is just run in from the edge and just doing this smoothly. Now you look at this now, that does not look bright orange, does it? Because the glycerin has diluted it down as well, but it's just softening this whiteness. In fact, I'm going to do one side and then you can see the difference. You might prefer it to look nice and white, which is absolutely fine. This is your project, you can do what you like, but I just want to give you other different ways of using it. So that's it with the white, and that's just taking that bit of colour off, which I think works quite well. So I'm just going to run this around this side as well. There are lots of techniques you can do with your aqua tint pens, so do keep an eye out on the Crafter's Companion YouTube channel for little videos that are there. Do check out the blog as well, because there's also top tips on there as well from the design team and projects that you can do. So hopefully this is showing you another way to use them. Just going to... Right, and then I just want to bring very carefully just a little bit of colour there. Blast with my heat gun just to dry it all off. Okay, I've got my cardstock here all cut out ready. So I've got my black matte to matte and layer that onto, and I'm going to use my Calal All Purpose for that. And then I've made a card base out of some Centura Pearl, so that will go on top of there. All the sizes are in the step-by-step instructions as well. And then I've just got some twine here that I'm going to wrap around it, so this will show you what you're going to finish up with. I hope you've enjoyed the project, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you for watching.